Good afternoon, my MPP peeps. How we doing? Heck of a close. The Bulls have more firepower in them. Um, Everyone thinks this thing is heading down. No one thought today's close would be higher. Everyone thought that jobs number yesterday and today would take this market down. But look what we have. We got a big old green candle, market up more than 1%. We've broken this downtrend line. We are now above the 0.618 retrace of this move right here, which leads me to believe we are going to test this 200 SMA likely next week. This could be a false signal. It always has that possibility. But the move was persistent all day. And ended at the high of the day. So I have to believe, given there's no bombshell news stories this weekend, that we'll likely gap up and make an attempt at this 200 SMA and possibly try to put some sort of shooting star in to 3051 intraday at some point. Big possibility to get bulls really frothing at the mouth and running into this market. I personally think this 3050 is probably going to be somewhere near the high of this wave. I think this is going to get all the bulls lathered up and a lot of people long, and then they'll pull this thing back at some point. And how far they pull back, who knows, but likely to this 10 SMA at some point. But price is king. Predictions don't mean squat. We follow price. And if you were following today's trades, you likely made some money. I hope you did. We had a lot of winners this week, a fantastic week for our hedge fund and for a lot of the trades we posted. Let me go over a few of those that we still own. Starbucks, mentioned this the past couple days. Like this formation, we had a nice double bottom. Now we put in another higher low and had rebounded off that 50 SMA and broke this downtrend line. That's when we got long, and we already sold some this morning at 77. But if this market continues heading higher next week, I think we got a good shot at this 200 SMA, this 84.69. I saw some bullish option activity coming through the tape today. We have good news for the company in general. They're opening up 90% of their stores. So some good sentiment in this name, but does need overall market participation to move higher. It's very much tied to the market. But we're still holding that, and a stop. We moved our stop to entry, which is right around like 75-ish, but still holding runners in that. LVS, we just went long today. We told you guys about this pattern this morning. We were looking for a break above, and it broke and then kept running. We're still long, full position. Well, it's a quarter of a position, but haven't sold any yet. We are looking for 52 first target, and then second target, this 200 SMA. And if the market continues to run, this one should run too. I mean, this is a nice, call this a 2-month consolidation period. All right, well, more of a month-long consolidation period that we're now busting out of. So it's got some pent-up buying, and we could see this momentum carry to this 200 SMA, like this name. Netflix, had a red day today, but I think it's still just consolidating this monster move. It's not really selling off. It's just moving in a range up here. We still have a January 450, 500 call spread, expecting this to move up at some point to 484-ish, possibly 500 to take profits in that spread. We told you guys this week we did expect some consolidation in this area, so we also sold the weekly 440 calls against our spread as well. and those paid today. We collected the full premium. As you can see, we closed below 440. So we got some nice premium already built into this name, lowering our cost basis. So a move here would be even more profitable for Netflix. AYX. You guys were following me this morning and the last couple days. We said, we bet on earnings, went in very small, and earnings disappointed. The outlook wasn't as good as the market wanted to see, and we tested this 50 SMA, but it held the 50 SMA and held these lows. So we put in a higher low here. And what do we say? We said this could pull a 5.9, where earnings disappointed in 5.9, and then it just exploded higher, and we made money on that call spread. Well, it looks like the same thing is happening with AYX. We have the 135, 140 call spread next week. If this momentum continues, I would love to see a close above 140 and us to collect that entire spread, which would be a nice win. But even if it fails, since we have the spread, it's not going to be a big loss. So this would just be icing on the cake here to an otherwise fantastic last 2 weeks in trading. ATHX, we went long a October-May diagonal spread. So we bought the October 4s, and we bought them right around here, right around 255. And we sold the May 4s, which is going to have to move a tremendous amount for those May 4s not to pay. It looks like we're going to collect full premium. And this one could really run. It's been a strong momentum name the last month and sold off a lot of profit takers, but it's slowly building momentum back. And it's closed in the higher end of the range today, which bodes well for continuation at least this 320. Since it looks like I'm going to collect this premium for the Mays, I would like to just ride these Octobers to see if I can get a move to 6. I often look at the 0.618 retrace of a high to low, and that puts us right around 584. The 0.618 retrace of this move, boom, is here, 5.84. So I'm going to hold those October calls almost as a lottery play to see if I can get this 584. Will be a huge win. So those are names that we're in right now. I do have some names that we're looking to next week to play, short-term plays with targets that are pretty close. Twitter is one. Twitter got a ton of call buying today, massive amounts of call buying, and is holding this uptrend line. So see this uptrend line right here? We're holding it. And it's now closing above the 50 SMA, holding above it pretty consistently, last 7 trading sessions. So this looks poised for a move higher, and it's got some big boy buying behind it. So next week, I'm looking for this high to get taken out, and I'm just going to get long, probably a quarter position, and look for this 200 SMA to get hit. That would be my first target, right around 34. So I think this has some potential. Gilead, man, this one just continues to tease me. This consolidation box has been going on for a while. And as soon as it breaks out, I think it runs fast. And I'm sure investors are just waiting to see if this treatment is for real, if they can mass produce it and get it in enough hands, and it's effective. So I think it's a wait and see game, but you can tell some very cautious optimism here. A lot of optimism. It's just still cautious. They're waiting for that big piece of news that says that drug is going to be for everyone. It's very effective, and people will continue to use it. As soon as that news is out and we break 85, I think this thing runs to 100, possibly 120. So I'm watching for this 85 break. Pins, we're in this name long term, but I think it's setting up for a nice short term trade. So we had we had this really strong move, and we've sold off now to about around the 0.618 of this move, and I think it's going to have another wave higher. If it can close above this 10 SMA right around 2004 right now, if it can close above that, I'm going to get long, a quarter of a position for a run to the 200 SMA. Just one more tag of that, and just take a short-term gain if we get that move. And, continue to hold this name long. I think it has great growth potential, and will continue higher at some point. And I'll probably add, if we can get above this 200 SMA, hold above and then go higher, I'll likely add to this long-term position. But for the short term, I'm looking just to the 200 SMA. Shack, man, this thing had a really nice close, and looks to be headed higher. So we have this nice W and then V, held the 50 SMA, and is now breaking back above this downtrend line. If it gets continuation next week, I'm going long a quarter of a position for a run to what I think is the 0.382 retrace of this entire move down, right around 59.32. And if it can close above that, I think 68's in the cards. As restaurants start to open up, as this economy starts to open up, restaurants have been really beaten down. And since this was such a strong name pre-COVID, I think it quickly catches up and makes a quick move. So keep this one on your radar. It could be a very profitable trade. Disney, we were looking for 109.50 to get taken out today to get long. Didn't quite get there. Maybe it can next week. Really like this bottoming pattern. And I think it also benefits from, economy opening up, momentum. And if it catches, a wave along with the market, I think this thing could hit 113. And then, if the market continues higher, I think 121-ish, 120, 121. But, this 113 would be our first target. So that is all our, more short-term trades. And then longer-term ideas, I'd like to go over those as well. You guys have heard me raving about FSLY. This one we were in a long time before it paid, and it finally paid in spades this week with earnings. The earnings went far beyond expectations. This growth story is huge. We've made a bunch of money on this. We've taken half off of the position and waiting for some sort of dip to buy back in that half that we sold. I personally would love this area right here, this 26, somewhere between this 29, 26, but closer to 26 to get long. Hopefully when this market does finally sell off and pull back, we get a dip in this name to buy. Roku, strong growth story name. I think, longing this name and shorting Comcast is a pretty good pairs trade if you're looking for a pairs trade. I think Comcast days are numbered with a competitor like Roku. It had just an enormous run at the beginning of 2019 all the way until September. Now it's just consolidating. We had this dip, obviously, post-COVID, but it's quickly catching up and regaining this 200 SMA. Earnings were good. Growth story is still there. The guidance, I think, came in light and caused it to sell off. I would love a chance to pick it up at 119, 108 for a long-term hold. I think this thing, sky's the limit for this puppy. You know, I would say first target would be somewhere around 250-ish. I have to do a little more analysis to find a first target, but it's high. I got very high hopes for Roku. TTD, monster, just a monster. We sold the move right in here. We sold all out before earnings. Around 300, I think. Got all out of this name just because it was entering my first target level around 330-ish. And I want to buy a pullback. I was looking for 286 to start. It nearly got there today and recovered. I would ideally like to pick this up right around 260 and jump back in to a long-term position and then hold this for the next wave higher. But, you know, just a ton of profits were made here. I want to take those off the table and then try to buy lower. Twilio, same thing. I took Twilio completely off. You know, 173-ish was my first target. It's hit that. Just a monster move off of earnings. I'm hoping it consolidates and then pulls back down to this previous high, or at least this previous high of 150-ish to start nibbling long again for a long-term hold. I would really love a move back down to here, 135, 133. Don't know if we'll get that. I think the pullback in the overall market will have to be pretty significant for this one to fall. But, you know, any pullback in this name, I think is great. It's going to be a winner for the long term. They're set up very well. So really like that name. And lastly, Shop. We're still long this name and looking to add on dips. I'm looking to see if we could get in around 643, 584 on any kind of dip. And then if we get this 770 first, I'll likely just sell out of the position I have and then wait for the 0.236 retrace or 0.382 retrace, just like I'm doing in TTD or TWLO to buy back in lower. Because I think this the 770 area is going to be resistance and will open up investors to some profit taking at those levels. So those are all my names. And next week, you know, let's see how we do. If we get continuation, there could be a lot of winners in those short-term names I went over. And then once we pull back, we have a lot of options to buy in for a longer-term holds. So, you know, we're set up nicely either way, and we'll just take what the market gives us. So now I want to open it up for any questions you guys might have, any tickers you might want me to look at. Linda, you're starting to watch WBA for dip buying. I would have liked to retest 39 on more volume, but I like the bounce today. I expect some interest. What level would you look to go long? Let's look at WBA. Okay, it's definitely got some nice divergence here, Linda. I mean, that's always positive to see when you're trying to pick a bottom. Let's go to a monthly. Might tell a better story here. So it's below, you know, you're below the 200 month moving average. You're hovering right around this previous consolidation box, this long consolidation box. What I would want to see is at least a close over, you know, 48-ish. Where's this 200 SMA now? 51.35. I mean, let's see where the daily 200 is. Yeah, I would want to see at least a close above here. So, you know, like 53, 54-ish, you know, even above this daily 200 SMA before I would try this long. I mean, this is a dangerous area right here. and it could break lower. You know, you could have another 20-point drop. So, you know, I know Walgreens is a strong business. It's not going away, but you can't argue with price. We have a 50 SMA crossing through a 200. We got a market rallying and this one playing dead. So you want to wait until momentum comes back in the name. You know, if you're a dividend holder, that's another thing. If you like the dividend, and I see you have that there, but it's only paying what, 1%? I don't know how great that is. I will wait for momentum to come back in this name to get long, because there are plenty other better longs out there. So look for, you know, for me, I would look for 53, 54 to get broken, and then you can go long, because that's going to signal a trend change and momentum should come back in the name. Anything else? Anybody else have any questions? No? Okay. So yeah, I was trying to offer the public a free Zoom to show people what we're doing. Maybe get a few more clients, but obviously that was ruined by some bozo. Don't know who it was. I'm going to try to figure out, work with Zoom to see if I can close off to those type of people, so that I can actually have a Zoom call with the public. But until then, it'll just be you guys, which is fine with me. So I'm going to talk to you guys Monday morning. Look for some all our we'll post a S&P chart. I'll also post all the trades that went through this week. It was a big week, so you can see all those, and I'll update the MPP trade tracker so that you guys can take a look and see the positions that we're holding still. All right, guys, been a great week. Glad to talk to you. And remember, don't trade for thrills. Just consistently make those dollar bills. I'll talk to you Monday.